So in the aftermath of that awful Tom Brady roast, God, I hate that word now. They've ruined the word roast. Those things are cringe now. Bert and Tom have been coping pretty hard about their performances, which were arguably the worst of the whole event, which included Ben Affleck and that whore that'll do anything for attention and is constantly getting fucked by big black guys. No, I'm not talking about Tony Hinchcliffe, I mean Kim Kardashian. So first they were saying that they did great. Now they're saying that Tom never wanted to do it in the first place, and that's why he sucked, which is the truth. It was obvious that Tom didn't want to do it. I called that. You could see it in his awkward performance. But that's not an excuse. You didn't want to do it, then why did you do it? You shouldn't have done it. Which means that anyone who wants to criticize your performance is well within their rights to, and really they should, because you didn't even want to do it in the first place. You had no passion to do it. So why do you think that anyone should defend you then? But comedians get very defensive when you call them out. They have to say, oh, it's just haters that don't like it. All of this has been discussed on the latest episodes of Two Bears, One Cave. Jimmy Carr was the first guest after the roast, and he picked on Bert to the point that I think it actually bothered Bert and hopefully made him question what it is that he actually does.
Is I read everyone's jokes as they were doing them because I was reading the prompter. So
you're saying this because you think we don't know that?
Oh.
No. We saw it.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Oh, no. I was going to inquire as to your reading age when I got here. I think you're really coming along.
I just saw the clip of Bert, of Tony doing it, and Bert's going.
Yeah. He looks like he's praying. He looks like he's quietly praying. Hope it goes okay. Hope it goes okay. Because a generous laugher as well. He's got that infectious thing.
He was
and he's
great.
A legit goddamn movie star.
Yeah.
Not like one machine movie. That didn't count. Like a proper, proper general release. Like people went to see, they bought tickets.
Yes.
It's like a real movie.
Yeah.
Real
revenue. Yes.
Not like, whatever, you made a thing for YouTube. Not that.
Yes.
A real one.
Yes.
It was the real deal. Star. Yeah. I was reading his prompter and he would go.
Yes, we know. it was on television.
I know. Tom is really good at picking out morons. Like he's like, fuck that guy, he's an idiot.
He knows he's saying this, yeah?
Yeah. Why? What am I saying? but like, were you? Because you were like, you came from a different world.
I still don't think he knows he's saying it.
Okay.
So, would you?
So you're saying Tom's good at picking out morons?
He's really good at picking out morons. Oh no, I'm not saying that.
And there, you saw the penny drop in perhaps the slowest of all motions.
And then it happened again on the latest episode with Tony Hinchcliffe. In both instances, they get made fun of for their performances, and they just sit there laughing while defending themselves. But clearly, the person who is making fun of them really means that shit. They really don't like the performances that Bert and Tom gave. And I think both of them know that. And it's one thing to defend your own ego when you know you fucked up, but then you have to listen to Tony Hinchcliffe brag about how he's a professional roaster. That has to be the worst thing in the world. That's like the gayest thing ever. I would rather listen to Bert's drinking stories, even the ones that end with him denying that he's an alcoholic. He later in the podcast compares roasting as comedians to being a boxer going into the UFC, which I get the analogy, but this seems to be an ongoing thing with some of these comedians. You know, what we do on stage is like insert difficult job. And they do it so much that I think some of them actually believe this shit.
It's like when you see a boxer or a wrestler attempt the UFC. You could be an Olympic gold medalist stand-up comedian, and you go into that world where Nikki has that much experience, and
so much.
Having me sit at this table and shooting it like that for a minute is like hiring the world's greatest sushi chef to make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You guys have to let me cook. I don't even like use like cool slangs like that, but I had heard it recently, and I'm like, I kind of like that. Like, you have to let me cook.
He keeps doing it too. He wants people to know that he's a real big UFC fan as well, which is very fucking cringe. We get it. You like all the things that Rogan likes. Next, you're going to tell me you're a bow hunter. He describes his big moment as being like a Nate Diaz fight.
To me, again, I always make corny UFC analogies because it's my other favorite thing. But and this is obnoxious to say, but it really felt like my Nate Diaz versus Conor moment where everybody was shocked except for me.
He really does have the worst personality in comedy at the moment as well. Like, he has this weird elitist attitude and uses it to try and dominate smaller comedians when he's barely above them. And he thinks that he's like some edgy, dangerous person. Really, just listen to how he describes himself.
I'm like these agents and managers' naughty youngest kid. They all rep like the cleanest people. Seinfeld, Gaffigan, Nate Bargatze, like all these people that wear suits and like only talk about having grandchildren or whatever. And I'm like their naughty bastard kid that they kind of root for and like because it's like he's a renegade.
He called himself a naughty boy. Oh, Jesus Christ. Put a fucking gun in my mouth. But besides that, he is right to make fun of Tom and Bert's performances. I don't think Tony did good either, but he was at least doing the job that he was supposed to, as good as, a pathetic person like him can. It's weird too because he probably did a better job of roasting Bert on this podcast than he did Tom Brady. But maybe that's because Bert is low-hanging fruit that can easily be made fun of. Comedians can never really take responsibility for their own actions, even when it's inconsequential, like in this case. Even here, it seems like Bert is made to take the fall, for signing Tom up.
So they called, and I guess they called Bert first. They're like, hey, we have this idea. We want to have you guys in the roast. And then Bert said,
yeah.
Without even
100%. Tom's in too. And they went, well, we haven't reached out to Tom, so you don't need to. We're in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're in. Done. Done.
Wow.
They said, we'll pay. I said, I don't care. I said, how much? They told me. I said, Tom, I get the same? I said, yeah. I said, we're in.
Oh, my God.
He called me. He was like,
hey, we're doing the roast.
We're doing the roast.
And
I
he
go,
went,
what?
absolutely fucking not.
I said, no.
I said, Tom, light lift.
Oh
I said, well, I knew.
But he still could have said no. There's also this thing that Bert does where he admits that he doesn't actually know how to do roasting. He doesn't actually know how to craft those kinds of jokes. But he still agreed to it and then signed up his friend who probably also he knows can't do that shit either. It's like, if you know you can't do a good job, then why are you doing this? I get that you want to do all this because you're a big football fan and all of that shit, but is it ever enough? Like, can you ever just not do something that even when you know you can't do it, you think you would stop at some point? Give the opportunity to someone who actually does know what they're doing and could have been better than you, and you could have recommended them. I don't know, fucking anybody, really.
This will probably make some people crazy, maybe make me crazy. Mm-hmm. A few nights later, I was at the forum for my show.
Yeah.
Netflix executives came by that show, talking about the roast, asked if I wanted to be involved in the next roast.
Oh, wow.
And that's after that set.
Damn, they didn't even ask me that. That's
Yeah,
how
isn't that crazy?
hated I am by the
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
Because you guys went out there and did what you did. And you're already being invited to the next one.
Yeah,
And they won't take responsibility for how bad their show is. That thing sucks and hasn't had a huge moment in forever because neither one of them actually cares about the podcast anymore. The last time that Two Bears did anything that anyone actually noticed was when Tom attacked his own audience for being paws, which is why no one can relate to them anymore. There's also this odd dynamic going on where Bert thinks that he did good at this roast and laughs hysterically when he's criticised, and then you got Tom who just sits there, crosses his arms, sits there all quiet. He knows he sucked, and then he just has to awkwardly laugh and go along with it.
sent them a script. They send their script, like their Punch-Up script. Right. Combine the two.
Yeah, you're like, that's good enough.
Kind of.
That's great.
I'll tell you what.
No reason to work on this anymore. It's just the most watched thing ever.
First and foremost, because without us, it is a bunch of people doing the exact same thing.
Right.
Like we broke up. We definitely.
Yeah,
thank you
it
to
was
Kim
like
Kardashian.
it was a comedy up until you guys started. And then you guys got to really change the tone a bit. You had to make everybody appreciative of laughter.
I had no idea. I told him this.
I'm still living in oblivion. I had a blast. I think we did great.
He knows that both of them sucked, and on some level probably thinks he deserves to be made fun of for it. But he also does this thing where he just sits there being quiet and just awkward. He's very careful with his words too. He knows he can say things that'll fuck it up for him, and Bert obviously does this also. But the way that Tom just sits there looks very uncomfortable. It's like he wants Bert to shut the fuck up whenever he's talking. Because he's just dumb, and it makes both of them look bad, especially when he knows himself that he fucked up and didn't do a good job, and his roast sucked, and the whole thing was fucking gay. But he doesn't want to say it for whatever reason, probably because he knows how fragile Bert is. But there you go, Tom admitted that he sucked, he fucked up, it was awful, he knows that both of them sucked, the whole thing was fucking gay. And so you should too. You should also think that this was shit and gay because they admitted it themselves. So they can't get mad when you say exactly what they are saying about themselves. So there you go.